Well, hey there. I'm just getting ready to hit the streets and head uptown, and you know why. To see our good friend Steve. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget about the great movie merchandise below. Follow us on X and on Blue Sky. Now let's go see the tired old queen at the movies, Steve Hayes.
Oh, Johnny, we hadn't done a film noir in a while. And this has been a long time coming. 1948's The Postman Always Rings Twice, starring Lana Turner, John Garfield, Cecil Kellaway, Leon Ames, and Hume Cronyn and Audrey Totter, and directed by Tay Garnett. Now, this was based on a novel by James M. Cain. James M. Cain, of the three big film noir writers, was known for the plots. He had great plots. Double Indemnity, Mildred Pierce, Postman Always Rings Twice, Serenade. You could always count on a great story from him. Raymond Chandler was the king of the poetic language. His plots, you couldn't figure out what was going on. People, when they were shooting The Big Sleep, they called up Raymond Chandler and they said, "Could you tell us who killed Eddie Mars?" He goes, "I don't know. I never figured it out and I wrote it." But the language was so poetic. That was the thing. And Dashiell Hammett was sort of known as the one who could do it all. Plots were great. The language was great. He just had it all. MGM had the rights to Postman Always Rings Twice, and it was sort of like the novel that could never be filmed because it was so sexual and about a love affair that the couple plot to kill a guy. And then with the success of Double Indemnity over at Paramount in 44 and with Mildred Pierce at Warner Brothers in 45, they said, "We got this. Let's do this." So they cast their resident sex pot at MGM at the time, Lana Turner. And Lana Turner and John Garfield, they borrowed John Garfield from Warner Brothers, and those two set sparks. This has one of the most famous entrances in the history of film. John Garfield is a drifter. He goes up, he meets this guy, Nick, who owns a filling station and a diner, and he needs a job. And Nick's this is a really affable guy. He says, "Well, yeah, go on in. I'll be in a minute and we'll talk about it." And John Garfield goes in and he's sitting at the counter, and all of a sudden you see a lipstick rolls across the floor. And he looks down and he picks it up, and the camera starts at these white open-toed platform shoes, goes up her legs, and there's Lana Turner in a white turban. She's all in white, and she looks like $1,000,000. I would say that next to Rita Hayworth in Gilda, this is probably one of the sexiest times you'll ever see a woman in 40s movies. She was so sexy.
You won't find anything cheap around here.
And he takes the job right away. Well, sparks are flying. At first, she doesn't want anything to do with him. She's married to Nick, and she doesn't want any problems with this guy. But the sexual chemistry is too much. And she's so frustrated being married to this older man in this diner. Of course, John Garfield and Lana Turner have this big affair.
Stealing a man's wife, that's nothing. But stealing his car, that's larceny.
And then he announces that he's going to sell the diner.
Why sell now when it might turn out to be a gold mine?
Somebody's bound to come along and open up a better place across the street and put us out of business. But mainly, Corey, so as you can stop work.
He's going to have Lana Turner take care of his invalid sister. That does it. That's the end. So they decide that they're going to plot and kill Nick.
But darling, can't you see how happy you and I would be together here without him?
So Lana Turner has this bag of marbles, and she's going to hit him over the head in the shower. And that goes awry, and he falls. She hits him on the head, but it doesn't kill him, and they put him in the hospital.
He's unconscious, but he's still breathing.
Did he see you do it?
I don't know.
They decide they're going to drive up the coast. Nick and John Garfield and Lana Turner are going to drive up the coast. They're going up through the mountains, and John Garfield is in the back, and they get Nick drunk. John Garfield picks up this bottle and kills Nick, whacks him over the head. And then they make the car go over the cliff, so it looks like it's a car accident. But John Garfield gets caught in the car, and the car goes over the cliff with Garfield and Nick in the car. And Lana Turner runs up screaming. And what car pulls up? The district attorney, who's witnessed the whole thing. So the rest of the movie is them working on her to betray him, them working on him to betray her.
You got it all mixed up. It's you or her.
Back and forth, and how is this going to go? And it's all about passion and sex and treachery. And for the 40s, it's pretty provocative. MGM was not really known for its film noir. Warner Brothers and Paramount were right on the money with film noir, but not so much MGM. She's very clean for being a greasy spoon waitress. You know, she's always in white, you know. There's never a stain. There's never a grease stain on her, you know. She's supposed to be flipping burgers all day long, you know.
You didn't mean that. You were joking.
Garfield had come up at Warner Brothers. He was working his way up. He was the bad boy at Warner's. He would go on suspension when they didn't give him the right stuff. Around this time, he did Body and Soul, and he did Gentleman's Agreement. He was coming into his own. He really was, and humoresque with Joan Crawford. He was the resident bad boy out there. He was also one of the first people that they, quote, did the method. You know, he had come out of New York. He had come out of the group theater.
Now I find out that you are smart.
Lana was known as a sweater girl early on at MGM because she would wear these tight sweaters in movies, and she gradually kept working her way up. She was in school with Mickey Rooney and Judy Garland and June Presser, and they were all in school together at the MGM school, and she was the bad teenager. Judy used to go, Mickey and Lana used to just sneak out and smoke all the time. You know, that's what she did. Lana proceeded to get married. She ended, I think, 7 times she got married. And she married Artie Shaw. And then she married Lex Barker. And she married Bob Topping. And, you know, she loved to party. She was always out. She loved being a movie star. She was always glamorous. She was on dates all the time. Lana was a good time girl. And Lana gradually wasn't a bad actress. When she got a really good director behind her, she could really turn out a good performance. This was her favorite movie that she ever made. She really stepped up to the plate with this one because she had seen what Double Indemnity did for Barbara Stanwyck and what Mildred Pierce did for Joan Crawford and Anne Blythe, and she knew she had a really meaty part with this. And it all depended on the sexual chemistry. Evidently, they had a lot of sexual chemistry, and they, according to what I read, they even had a tryst on the beach one night, finally.
How is that going to
Oh, please, Frank. Come on. I'll show you.
But they discovered that in reality, they didn't have really any chemistry at all. So they just decided to be good friends. And they were good friends till he died. I saw this really funny version of The Postman Always Rings Twice in New York with Varla Jean Merman in the Lana Turner role, the drag performer, brilliant comedian, one of the great physical comedians, and my dear friend Bradford Scobie, who is just the brilliant comic actor who did the best imitation of John Garfield I've ever seen. Postman is sex from the word go, as much as they could get away with at that time. And, you know, considering the time, that's quite a lot. Lana Turner, John Garfield, Leon Ames, Hume Cronyn, and Cecil Kellaway in Tay Garnett's version of James M. Cain's The Postman Always Rings Twice.
Let's all go to the...
He had a trapdoor, so he disappeared. While he was having sex with her, he just disappeared. And she would get up and adjust her skirt and walk away. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Popcorn can't be beat.